Welcome to the game of real estate. I'm your host, Jason Rash. I'm taking you on my journey from zero to $100 million in real estate sales. Let's go. All right, let's get into it. I've got my beautiful wife here in the house, a resident branding expert. How are you today, Brookie?
Hey, babe.
Yeah, fantastic. So she's coming on today, and we're going to talk about how to build your brand, because here's the thing. A lot of people don't know how to do it. They have no idea. So what we're going to do is she's going to come in and she's going to break it down to a 6th grade level so that when you walk away from this podcast, you can be like, I know exactly what to do.
Okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to give you everything, but we are going to be talking a little bit about how to get started with building your brand. That is something that Jason and I have been doing for many, many years now. And when you have your own brand, you can sell anything. So whether you're in real estate or you decide real estate's not for you and you move on to some other endeavor, having a brand is so important in the year 2025. Would you agree?
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, people buy from you because they know, like, and trust you. And I think personal brands are even stronger now with the amplification of social media, that individual voice. So absolutely 1,000%. It's only going to get stronger.
Yes. So what you need to understand about building your brand is that you are the brand. So your brand is not just selling houses. It's not just like your niche within the real estate market. It's who you are as a person. People want to know who you are. People want to know who they're doing business with. And that was one of the things that you've noticed as you've been trying to connect, especially with some higher level players, right? That they really want to get to know who you are.
Yeah, I think that, whenever they walk in the door, they want to know the character of this individual. They want to know, like, oh, do they have kids? Do they have this? It's like endearing whenever you find out, whenever we're doing an open house together in a large home, somebody walks in, they think they're going to get just, some dude in there or some woman in there, but mainly dude, some dude in there who just, it's just a transaction to him. But whenever he sees our son in there with us or sees you in there with me or all three of us together, there's an endearing quality. And then we tell, like, that's part of our brand. It's the fact that we've been married 22 years. We have a son that we raise. He's polite. You come in and
sometimes.
Sometimes. And we're working
to other
together.
People, not to us.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, but that's part of a brand, and that stands out and it's amplified through, whenever people come through the door.
So I think Jason has really branded himself as the family man, and he does try to get me to come to the events and the open houses. Like when we leave the studio today, I'm going to show houses with him. To be very clear, I am not in real estate. I do not have my license. I have no desire for that. What I do is branding and social media marketing. So, it does work hand in hand, but I'm not in like contract negotiations or anything like that. So he does like to have me along when possible because he feels, at least from what he's told me, and he can elaborate more, that it gives him more credibility and that people don't just see him as some sort of like slimy used car salesman. And I'm not saying that if you don't have a family or if you're not branded that way that you can't be successful. Obviously, there's a lot of sharks out there who are doing really well, but it all boils down to how you want to be known. So that's a question that you really have to ask yourself.
Yeah, I think, I want to be known as a family man. I don't want to, where I'm at in my life, I know for this market, it's somewhat transactional for a lot of people. They think that it's transactional. And like you said, there's sharks out there, but like being in the family man, like, hey, this guy, the character, the quality, people want to know who's behind the transaction, I think, more.
Yeah. So, building your brand is obviously you have the social media component. That's the part where I excel, and Jason actually really excels there too, but he's been so busy recently. He hasn't really had a lot of time to put into his social media. Yeah. At the end of the day, you have to understand that you have to do the things that are going to make you money. And the way I see it, is at least in the scope of working with him behind the scenes for the last 18 months, is that social media is really your business card. Yes, it can work to generate leads for you. Yes, it can work to get you referrals and to establish yourself as that expert. But because we came into this market and our network on social media is not local to Palm Beach, it's not maybe like generating as many leads for him as someone who's lived in the town that they sell in for many, many years, and their entire Facebook network or LinkedIn network or whatever. We've always been big on Facebook, Instagram. It's easier for someone that's lived there for their whole lives. Yeah. So I think when it comes to the social media part of it, what the learning curve for you was that it didn't have to be all in on social media because you were actually generating leads, which you just did an episode on that.
Yeah.
In other ways than just social media.
It was a watershed moment for me. Like where she's sitting there, and this is what a woman does. And in full transparency, we were kind of like, bickering on the way over here to this podcast about other things. But, this is a watershed moment for me. Like if you don't know anything about me and my wife, we built online other multiple businesses and we've been very successful. And when I got into real estate, you're going to do what you've done to become successful. I was like, okay, this is cool. I'll just dominate social media. I've got a large social media following. I love talking to people, and I love doing live broadcasts. I love doing reads. I love doing stories, all that good stuff. And when she came up to me and she said, hey, listen, dude, stop putting so much time into social media and get your butt out there in that community and like meet people. That was a watershed moment for me. Like it changed the game. And I post less on social media now than ever before. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but for where I was at, what she just said, I didn't have a local audience in Palm Beach. I didn't have people that I knew that were even moving to Palm Beach. That's how irrelevant almost social media was. So it's almost like my social media was stripped away. Not branding was stripped away, but it was like my power is gone. Like my power of social media.
That's not your power. Your power is you and your personality.
True.
Which is your brand.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got online and you've got offline. But I think a lot of people, when they think about the brand building, they think about the online aspect of it. So I want to just really make sure that you understand that when you're building your brand, it is so much more than like videos or photos of houses or even just tips and things about
logos and colors.
Yeah, logos and color. I mean, those things are important, and we've like established your aesthetic, and we have a good branding person that we work with that creates, all of your images, and I'm the one that's actually doing the Canva stuff for him. But it really boils down to, who are you as a person? What are your interests? What are your values? What are the things that are important to you? And I actually teach a branding course. I am in the process of updating it. So if you want to get on the wait list for that, just go to brookerash.store. You can jump on the wait list for that. I'm going to be teaching branding, but I like to use the analogy of the TV show Friends. And it's because it's a show that most people across all generations have watched. Ben, please don't tell me that you haven't watched Friends. Are you?
I love Friends.
Okay, you love Friends.
Me?
Okay, good.
I love Friends.
Most people know Friends. They love Friends. And so the way I like to describe it to people that really don't have any experience with building on social media, they're like, I don't know what to post. They're posting like a company graphic, or like I saw this one agent that like had, it was like the logo of the brokerage she's with like flip-flops, and it's like, move to Florida. I'm like, that is not moving anyone to purchase a home from you.
No.
Like, let's just be clear. I should have found that image so we could pop it up on the screen.
That would have been great.
But I was like, okay, this person like clearly needs help, but it's because not everyone understands how to build a brand.
Right.
So you think about watching the TV show Friends, like back in the 90s, early 2000s, we would gather around the TV, if you will, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday night to watch Friends. Like, Friends was a very pivotal thing for me. It started when I was in the 9th grade, and it ended like when my daughter was 6 months old. I still remember watching the last episode, where I was at, sobbing, like crying, like with the whole Ross and Rachel timeline.
Oh my gosh. I can't, I've heard so many rumors that they're going to bring it back. And,
that's not obviously, Matthew Perry is not with us anymore. So
yeah, but I mean,
that's never going to happen.
How much the world has changed since then, by the way. Like nobody gathers around the TV at a certain time. Nobody, not on a pre-recorded, it's crazy. Just, watching shows with like a laugh track or a live studio audience. I mean, like how we grew up watching TV and consuming content is totally different than how people do it today. I mean,
but you can still take those same concepts and you can apply it to what you're doing in your social media. So ask yourself, like, who was your favorite character on Friends? Let me just ask Ben, do you have a favorite character?
I do. Joey's my favorite.
I was going to say Joey.
And why Joey?
I just think his charisma is good, but he also is such a sweetheart. Like, he has such a good heart. So yeah, I like yeah.
So let's use Joey for an example. Like, what do we know about Joey? He's Italian. He has like 9 sisters or 7.
Nine.
Yeah,
I think 9.
It's a lot.
He loves women. He loves girls. Loves girls. How you doing?
How you doing?
I actually have something in common with Joey. I don't like sharing food with people.
Let's hear your best Joey how you doing impression.
No,
Come on.
not.
Let's
not.
How you doing?
Okay, I'll let Ben do it. So we know all of these things about his character, right? So we know about Joey Tribbiani, like all of these things. Like he said, he's endearing. It's like he's a gigolo, but like we kind of let that slide. I feel like today in today's culture that wouldn't like even work, right? With like the whole,
Oh, they would bash him all over
oh
social
my gosh,
media.
it would be terrible.
Yeah, he would be canceled so quickly.
He would get canceled.
Because he's such like a nice guy, we're like, oh, it's fine, like it's totally fine that he's slept with half of New York. But also, we follow Joey's storyline. Look, he matured a little bit over the years, not a whole lot, right? But we know like he was trying to make it as an actor, and he had his challenges with that. Like Joey for sure. What I love about the show is that it's a great ensemble cast. Like you couldn't have had the show hit as well without all of the characters. And the reason that Friends was so powerful is because you see a little bit of yourself in each of the characters. Most people do. I think the only one that Jason said he does not relate with at all is
Phoebe.
Phoebe, I was going to say, I don't see any Phoebe in there.
Yeah. But if you don't, like, someone that is like a Phoebe. And so when you're creating your brand on social media, you want to think of it like a TV show. Like, what is the journey that you're taking people on? It's like, first you have the character development, right? Like, who are you as a person? What are the things that are important to you? Like, I relate a lot with Monica and like the kind of uptight personality with things have to be, I'm a little OCD with, I want things to be tidy and that sort of thing. We followed Monica on her like weight loss, like the flashbacks of her being fat and then like the trauma that she had around that. Cause I've also kind of dealt with some of those things. I loved, Rachel's style, but I think the storyline that we all followed the most, that we loved the most through it all, was the Ross and Rachel drama, right? So it's like, who are the characters? What are the things about them? And then what is the journey that we're taking people on? And so Jason and I have been brand building for about 17, 18 years now, like officially, like online as entrepreneurs, like really focusing on these things. I think even before we understood what it meant to build a brand. And I like to break down, it's like, okay, so like today we're doing an episode, like on a podcast, right? You do a video on Instagram or on Facebook, and that's an episode. And then you have like a year of your life. Like that's a season. Like you're going through certain things, just like on the TV show, there's going to be seasons. So I'm not saying that you have to share every aspect of your life. That's where people kind of get it convoluted. They think, oh my gosh, well, I can't share X, Y, Z. I want to keep some things private. Like, for example, some people do not feel comfortable sharing their children on social media. And that's totally a personal thing. We're living in a day and age where there's a lot of perverts out there. So I get it. But that's a personal decision for you to make, whether or not to include your children and how much, but in any aspect of your life. Like we're not airing our dirty laundry. We do kind of talk a little bit behind the scenes on the podcast about how we fuss. It's marriage, right? And we do that to be relatable. And all of these things are relatable when you think about the TV show and why we watched it and why we laughed. And it gives us these feel-good feelings because, first of all, it reminds us of a time that we don't have anymore. Like you said, like it's not the same as it was in the 90s.
No, it's a bygone era for
But
sure.
also it's because we can relate to the scenarios that are happening. Just like this past week, I personally have recently started a new business. I left behind a company that I was with for 8 years and started all over. And even though things are going well, I still have my moments of feeling a little defeated. Maybe things aren't going as quickly as I want to because I'm an overachiever, or I will have moments of sadness where I miss the people that I used to work with. And so I just shared openly about that this past week on social media. Like I spent half an hour on the beach the other morning just crying. Like I just had a lot of emotions I needed to process, and I got more engagement on that post than anything I've done in a long time because it was relatable, because it humanized me. So you have to humanize yourself as a real estate agent. Like, who are you outside of showing homes?
Yeah. And it's, you get a lot of realtors that are stuck in these situations where I'm going to go show this home. I'm going to do a walkthrough, and it's the same pattern. You don't know these people. You don't know who they are. Like, I don't know anything about half the people that follow me. I don't follow a lot of people, oddly enough, but a lot of people follow me, and I'll see these things pop up and suggest it for you. But like whenever you go to the stories, there's nothing personal there
About who they are as a person. So let's talk about who you are as a person.
So-
You're a family guy. What else? Tell
Yeah.
us.
So, hey Ben, do me a favor. Can you grab a quick video of us for the Instagram, because this is part of what we do. Like, this is part of a brand. I know there's many people that desire to have a podcast. There's many
We haven't
people.
even launched this podcast yet, by the way.
Yeah, this podcast launches here shortly. But like we're putting it
One
on.
day it's
yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah, we're putting this on Instagram right now as we're podcasting it. Multiple streams, by the way, one to many. So you say one thing and it goes everywhere. Podcast, video, YouTube, Instagram, like it's everywhere, right? Ubiquitous. But here's the thing, and I can't pronounce because I'm phonetically challenged. But here's the thing, like our relationship, right? Like that's what somebody wants. That's part of our brand. There's not another female sitting here. It's my wife. I don't hire somebody because my wife can get the job done and it brings us closer together.
That's right. I can still get the job done.
That's right. And so the cool thing about it, though, that's part of the brand. So who am I? I'm a family man. I love real estate. I love money. I love the deal. I love the art of the deal. I love being kind to people. I love music. I love working out.
He's a fanatic.
Yeah, I love eating right. I love having my ice cream on Wednesdays. Speaking of which, by the way, right now it's Wednesday.
Well, you have the company holiday party tonight, so I'm not sure if you're going to have the chocolate ice cream, but you might have to schedule that for Thursday.
Yeah, I'm super disciplined with that, but that's part of me. But I also love showing real estate. I'm in the middle of a deal right now on the way to this podcast. I'll be fully transparent with you. Like, I had a deal of a listing of a cold call that I did, and the deal fell apart. Like, literally, I got the call like 10 minutes before I got on this podcast. You know, it sucks, but that's just part of the game. But you got to pick it up and you got to keep going. That's just how the game of real estate works. So like, you got to think of who your brand is. Do you let something like that derail you, or do you keep going? I'm an individual that if you follow me on any social media, I'll get it done. And so I'm the individual that just keeps going. That's part of the brand. So I think that that's part of who I am. I'm disciplined. You know, you're
motivational too.
Yeah.
So like if you ask Chat GPT, who is Jason Rash, they like refer to you basically as a motivational speaker.
Oh,
I see
yeah.
you on stages one day sharing. But these are all just pieces of who he is. And you don't need to try to be Jason or any other agent. You need to just be yourself.
Yeah.
So write down, like, who am I? What are the things that are important to me? And share a little bit of your life on social media so people can humanize you and connect with you as a person as you build that brand. Because just showing the houses is not really, sure, someone might share your content because like, oh, this house is badass and that video and that transition was great. But everyone's doing that. Like, yes, that's nice, but it doesn't highlight who you are as a person and what sets you apart.
You are so right. So I want to really like echo that, because I kind of figured this out. So one thing I will say about the real estate game is that when you find something that works, you can best believe someone's going to copy it. It's going to be all over the internet and they're going to copy it. But what they cannot copy is your personality, your energy, who you are, your likes, your values, your morals. Like, you know, that's who it is. So I speak fast. Like I have people, if you listen to my other podcast called Where's My Money, I'm talking super fast. I have people that come up to me all the time and say, oh my God, I couldn't listen to you on 1.5 speed. You probably have that happen here on this episode. But it's just a situation where I love to talk fast. It's just who I am as a person. I'm not trying to get one over on somebody, but it is who I am as a person. I'm ready to get to the point. So you got to think about who you are. Like, who are you as a person, not beyond the realtor? Like, what makes you you, as Brooke's talking about? So you cannot rely on cheap gimmicks such as walkthroughs, such as drone footage, such as all this stuff. All that stuff is supplemental, but it's going to have to be your energy. It's going to have to be your personality. It's going to have to be you as to who sells that home. And people want to know who you are. None of that can be replicated, by the way. None of it. Somebody can say, you guys can say the exact same thing. You and two different other realtors can say the exact same thing, but it's going to land different with different people. And that's what Brooke is getting at. It was like, that's just part of your brand. It's who you are. Yeah.
Well, before we move on, we have to thank our sponsor, which is Restore. Recharge. I said the wrong thing, although Restore is amazing too. It helps me sleep through the night.
Recharge. Like, this product is amazing. You know, this is, I mean, I can't say enough about this product, but do you want to kick it off?
He's like, I don't know all the details. It's okay.
I don't know all the details.
You don't have to. You know, the thing about selling, and this is just, I'll give this example for you. Most people don't want to know all the nitty gritty details. They just want to know, does it work?
Oh my
and why
God,
do you
it
like
does.
it?
Oh my
Your
God.
excitement, your energy is going to sell it.
Yeah.
So Jason and I both, Jason used to be on Ritalin for many, many years, just an FYI. I was at one point addicted to Adderall because I've always struggled with focus. And it had horrific like health effects on my body. This was many, many years ago. Thank God I'm off of that, because I probably would have been dead
Thanks to your husband.
if I stayed on it. We don't have to talk about all that right now, but I've always been searching for something that would really help me focus without giving me that jittery feeling, or like if you've been on Adderall, it feels like you're going to have a heart attack. Okay. So the recharge for me, it like helps me get in the zone. It gives me that motivation. So if you are in business and you're like, okay, I need to follow up with leads, I need to get in the zone. Like that's what I take. I do 2 scoops. Like if you do double, it does kind of feel like Adderall, but you still don't get like the heart palpitations. I'm not telling you.
Hey, Ben, what did you think about it? By the way, you took it. What did you think about it? We gave him some the first day we were here.
I actually loved it. I'm gonna buy some. So it's I struggle with caffeine. Caffeine and I, we battle. I get the jitters, but I do enjoy having that focus. So when you guys gave me some of that, I really was like locked in that day. I was like, my clients later were like, dude, what's going on? I'm like, I'm locked in.
Man says I'm dialed in, brother.
I'm dialed in right now. I'm about to produce your podcast.
Let's go.
It probably took everything you had not to open that jar and get more out of there. Because I was like, I'm just leaving this jar here so we don't have to remember it every episode. This is the product Jason and I are just obsessed with.
Yeah,
so you can get it at
amazing.
recharge.jasonrash.com. Again, that's recharge.jasonrash.com. Grab the recharge. I'm telling you, you will thank us.
Yeah.
So let's jump back into it with the brand building. So brand building is more than just your social media. It is also who you are outside of social media and your integrity and how you want to be known in your sphere of influence, in your industry, whatever your industry, if you're listening and you're not in real estate, because we know some people that maybe don't operate at the highest integrity. And when you're not operating in integrity, whether it be in real estate or anything else, that is going to become who you're known for. Like people are going to start to know like, oh, this person is shady. This person cuts corners. This person doesn't keep their word. So I know that's really important for you. Like you like really want to make sure that you're handling things effectively in a timely manner. And that's part of who you are as a brand, but he does struggle to show up on time. I'm just saying we were like 15 minutes late. So
yeah, I mean, hopefully that will not be part of my brand. But as we're going through this podcast episode, I want to make sure that if we are talking about the game of real estate here, and I think that it's not that I think I know that if you want to get an edge, you're going to have to figure this out. You're going to have to figure out who you are, what you want to show on social media, how are you going to differentiate yourself. And I know this may be new. I know it might be a little awkward or a little bit uncomfortable to try to figure this out, but you got to figure out all the clues are right there, by the way. All the clues are right there, who you are. Like for instance, tonight, whenever I go get my ice cream, and I will get my ice cream, when I go get my ice cream on Wednesday nights, I will reach into that cooler, I will pull it out, and I will talk about it. Like, hey, look, I allow myself ice cream. People are like, hey, man, I'm 47 years old. I'm in shape, but I know myself well enough, right? Like that 10,000-year-old saying, know thyself. If I don't have ice cream, I will go eat an entire bucket of it 2 weeks later. But if I have just a little bit, the smallest one, once every week, it's enough. It's enough. And I know my body well enough to know that I am not depriving myself. I do not want to be deprived. I work hard enough that I deserve a little scoop of ice cream. And it literally is a little scoop, but you got to know who you are, right? So who is that person trying to sell the house? What type of person would you like to attract to you? What type of individual would you like to work with? Like I write in my goals all the time. I'm like, I would like to work with individuals that I could call friends and I could have over Thanksgiving, because those are the people I really want to serve. Part of serving is part of my brand. I love to serve people instead of, it's not transactional for me. And so
like once it's done, kind of thing.
Yeah, I want to make
like
friends.
a one-night stand.
Yeah.
Like we just had sex and now I'm never speaking to you again.
Exactly. I mean, like for instance, I sold a gentleman a house. He came in the open house. I sold it to him. But however, there was a tax dispute with the taxes. And not on my side, but with the guy that sold him the house. It's $1,300. A lot of people would just let that stuff go. But the seller that sold him the house actually signed a document that said, hey, look, if there's any discrepancy, I'll pay the difference in taxes. So I had to track this stuff down. And I called him and I got the check. He didn't know I could get it. I got the check in my hand. I called him. I said, hey, I got the check. I said, hey, I know you'll never believe what I have in my hand. I said, I've got a check for you right now for $1,329. He was like, oh my God. It's not about the money. That man's got a lot of money in his bank accounts. Trust me, I've seen his bank accounts to show proof of funds that he could buy the house. I represented him as the buyer. It's not the $1,300. It's the fact that I had it in my hand and I gave it to him, and I'd removed that headache from him because it had been bothering him. And that is part of my brand.
And that's how you get repeat business.
Yeah, and that's how you get repeat business. Exactly.
I think authenticity is a huge one too. Like when it comes to just social media and branding in general, that's what we have always been complimented on repeatedly over the years. There's two things: consistency and authenticity. People like it when you're authentic. People like it when you're just honest. When it doesn't mean you have to share everything, but people like when you're authentic because there's so much fake bullshit out there. Like there is, like it's hard to sometimes know what's real and what's not, but when you're consistent and showing who you are and you're just authentic in that, that's going to make a big difference in how people will perceive you. And also remember that you're not going to be for everyone. That's another thing too that I think holds people back from really showing up, is that they worry that they're going to turn certain people off.
Yeah.
And you are not, if you are your authentic self, and this is something I still struggle with a little bit too. Like I know when I'm holding back because I don't want to upset someone, like, oh, what if this person watches this or whatever. But if you are in that mindset, you are not going to be attracting the right person. So think about who you are as a person and fully show up that way. And don't worry about the demographic of people who are not going to work with you. There's plenty of people out there. There's plenty of business to be had. And there's really plenty for everyone to be successful.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's literally it. That's the magic of a brand, is just understanding where that is, who that is, and what that encapsulates inside of one individual.
So that's a little bit about how to build your brand, as a real estate professional. If you want to get on the wait list for my full course on brand building, which applies across all platforms, no matter what you're selling, just go to brookerash.store. You can jump on the wait list, and I'll let you know when it's ready.
That's STORE?
Store. Yeah, brookerash.store.
There's no .com behind that.
Nope, it's just brookerash.store.
Okay, BROOKERASH.STORE, right? It's amazing.
Yes, right there.
Okay,
brookerash.store. You scroll down. I have a few freebies on there, and then at the bottom it says join Brooke's social media course wait list.
Let's go.
And the course that's coming is on branding.
Fantastic. I love it. You've really helped me with mine. Like I said, you've really helped me. Oh, excuse me. I should be over here. Yeah. You've really helped me with the way that I have, really started showing up online, as far as like, hey, don't say that, say this, try to do this, try to do that. I mean, like she's always coaching me and correcting me. And one thing I will say before we bounce from this is that it's always evolving. It's always changing. So for instance, and I don't think we said that. So we have a photo shoot next week for the print mailers that we're going to do out to this neighborhood. I want to showcase more of my personality. I want to be that guy that stands out. You know what I'm talking about. Whenever you get into your mailbox and you open it up and it's got this boring dude in some sort of a business suit and it's like sold real estate. You don't really care. He just goes right in the trash.
And if that's who you are, that's okay.
And that's okay.
That's not who Jason is.
Yeah, that's not who I am as an individual. Now I want to express more of my personality. So I've got some really cool ideas I'm going to be working with. And we're going to think of some stuff out of the box that makes people just pick it up something and they're like, whoa, okay. And then they're going to get another piece of mail 2 weeks later and they're going to be like,
oh, same guy,
totally different. Oh, okay. This is kind of cool. It catches their attention. Because at the end of the day, attention is the currency. Because if I throw your stuff in the trash, it doesn't matter. But again, if, it's all about branding.
You want to stand out. That's what it all boils down to is standing out with your marketing and your branding. We could talk about this for hours and hours.
Yeah,
but we need to go ahead and wrap up because I think you have some houses to show this
I
afternoon.
do, and somebody's calling me right now.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, well, fantastic. Well, thank you for tuning in today. I'm glad that we're able to bring Brooke into the house. She's always the great resident branding expert. I mean, listen, look, at the end of the day, you've got to get attention. Attention brings leads. Leads turn into contacts, and contacts turn into contracts. This is a game of real estate. We've learned a lot along the way, and you got some wins, you got some losses, but along the way, I want you to win more than you lose.
And you can follow us on social media.
Yeah.
Brooke and Jason Rash.
Yeah, Brooke and Jason Rash. You could go to Jason Rash on Instagram or Jason Rash on Facebook. You can go to Brooke Rash on Instagram, Brooke Rash on Facebook. Also, Jason Rash, youtube.com/Jason Rash. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. I am everywhere.
Just type in Jason Rash. Okay, it will come up.
That's right. That's right. That's how we did it, and that's how we set it up. Listen, look, this is a game of real estate. I want you to go out there and win. And let's go. Next episode coming at you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. For this episode, the game of real estate. Remember, this game rewards those who stay in it to win it. And I'm here to keep you ahead of the competition. If you're feeling pumped and ready to make your next big move, hit that follow button so that you never miss an episode. And hey, Don't just listen, share this podcast. Screenshot this episode, post it to the stories, and tag me at Jason Rash. Go ahead and do that now for a repost and a personal shout out. This is the game of real estate where winners are made, deals are closed, and the hustle never stops. I'll see you back on the field next time. Game on. Let's go.